I want to talk about professionalism today. I'm not a professional writer, so you'll have to excuse my penmanship. But if you don't know what a professional is, a basic definition is somebody that gets paid to do a job. So if you get paid to do a job, congratulations, you're a professional. Now, that being said, my definition's a little more harsh. A professional, in my opinion, is providing maximum value for their compensation. Now, there are levels to this, like anything else. Just like a video game, we all struggle if we attempt high-level skills without the experience necessary to get the job done. Now, the biggest thing is you don't know what you don't know. When you're going to do a job, just like this, simple thing as just like solder. You've got 3 different size solder here. Which one for which job? I don't know. What job are you doing? But if you don't even know that there's different sizes of solder available, how are you going to pick the right one? You're not. So the only advantage that a professional has is they have more experience and they're a higher level. So once you achieve a certain level and you know what level 1 doesn't know, you can get more done in a better amount of time and at a better quality and a better value to the customer. Now, if I'm just repairing wires, I may use butt connectors instead of solder altogether because I know the difference. Just like using a test light or a multimeter. This is a really expensive multimeter. This is a really cheap test light. They both have a place, but if you don't know the difference, maybe you should hire a professional. Now, the industry is plagued with professionals at all levels taking on work they're not qualified to do. Now, I'm all for learning. I'm not all for learning at the customer's expense. Now, if you want to learn a new skill, you want to pay for training, you want to learn how to apply the skill, you want to get a little practice, sure, absolutely. And then once you have that skill dialed in to where you can do it profitably and at an acceptable quality value, then sure, charge a customer for it and get to work. But unless you can provide a reasonable value for the skill you're providing and the service you're providing, you probably shouldn't do it for money. That's just an amateur getting paid, not a professional getting paid. The biggest difference, you see it in labor rates. It's not a good idea to talk about actual dollar amounts, but if one shop is charging half as much as the other shop, that doesn't necessarily mean the higher shop is providing a higher value, but it should be that way. Now, I've seen shops that charge half what I charge spend 3 times as long on a job and bill the customer for every second. Is that appropriate? I don't think so, but they might think it is. A lot of this is open to interpretation, and I'm really curious what your guys' thoughts are, because I'm pretty well set, in my opinion, that value can be measured and competency can be measured. A professional measures both of those constantly and makes adjustments to make sure that they're competent enough to provide the highest value they can provide. That's just my opinion. And it's as simple as just knowing things. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know there's different sizes of solder, you might try to repair a circuit board with this stuff. It's about as big as pencil lead, and you're going to have a bad time. It's not going to work. You're going to have a failed repair or a cold solder joint or ruined components. This might be an appropriate size for some components. This might even be appropriate for repairing wires. This is definitely not appropriate for repairing wires because you're going to waste half this spool getting two 14 gauge wires soldered together. There's an appropriate use for this super small hair thin solder. Again, if you don't know, it's in your best interest, if you're going to attempt to be a professional, to figure out what you don't know. That's why we pay for training. That's why that's why there's levels. That's why experience matters. That's why you have to practice this stuff. You can't just wake up and be like, well, I'm going to fix a circuit board today. No, you better have some practice or you're going to ruin a circuit board today. Just like you want to use these butt connectors. Well, if you have a cheap pair of needle nose pliers, you might be using super nice butt connectors, but you're not going to get a quality crimp on those. And that's what matters. The whole job, the value of the whole job. Same like this. You want to diagnose a faulty component? Both of these tools are more than capable of diagnosing a basic component. But only one of these makes the most sense to use in certain situations. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. And it's good to be honest about it and get some training. No matter what level you're at, and actually the higher the level you get, the more you realize there's probably stuff you don't know. And the more you realize there's probably faults with my process somewhere. And then you work hard to make your process smoother, better, for a better value for the customer. Because the customer is the one paying your bills. At the end of the day, nobody's going to show up and pay you to do something if the value isn't there. So, that's why we pay for thousands of dollars in training a year. And I've paid for an insane amount of training over my career. But all of it's been extremely valuable and allowed me to gain the experience and the skill necessary to be able to do these for a profit. Now, the industry's chronically undertrained, and I don't think anybody's out there just trying to rip off customers. I mean, of course, there's some greedy assholes out there, but at the end of the day, most people are just trying to get their customer taken care of, and they end up in a situation that, they might be on level 5, but they just took on a level 7 repair, and they are not prepared for that. That's either going to cost the shop or the customer an unacceptable amount of money. And that's the professional's job, is to ID that and go, hey, this job is above my skill level. We're going to have to hire that out to somebody else. I get calls, not a lot, probably 3 or 4 times a month. I get called out to other professionals to do something that they're not on the level for. And that's okay. I've called professionals all throughout my career to have them do things that I wasn't on the level for. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, what matters the most as a professional is the value that you provide to the customer. I'm going to stand by that pretty much, unrelentlessly. There's no excuse to look at it any other way unless you're greedy or lazy. And if you're greedy or lazy, this is definitely not for you. Because I can't help you if you're greedy or lazy. I can help you if you care and you want to be compensated at the rate you're worth for the value you provide. I've worked with guys that could provide exceptional values on oil changes, just oil changes, or tires. I've worked with guys that could mount a set of 4 tires in 15 minutes. That's an exceptional value for everybody. The customer's time's not wasted. The vehicle got done properly. The shop was extremely profitable. That guy earned his money. Now, I've worked with guys that could take 2 hours to do a set of 4 tires, and that's not high value. So you can be a professional no matter what your level. You just need to focus on the value you provide. And that's how you get to the next level. Because if you're not providing me premium value at level 1, I wouldn't expect it from you at level 5. And that's how it goes. But again, I'm really curious what you guys think. I'm really curious how the rest of the world looks at this. I'm just one guy out here in rural Wisconsin tucked back in the hills, just trying to take care of people and make a decent living. So, but I am curious how everybody else looks at it. That's my 2 cents. Really, it comes down to value. It costs a lot of money to maintain a shop, all the tools, all the equipment, all the insurance, all the overhead. But the value we provide is constantly growing because we're constantly working on it. That's how we can do it. That's why our customers leave happy 95% of the time. Nobody's happy to come in here and pay a big bill, but they're sure happy to get their stuff back knowing they can rely on it. Now, that's just the way I look at it. That's my 2 cents. I'm really curious for your guys' input, so please comment, like, share, subscribe. I'd love to see some really thoughtful feedback on this one, because this is a topic that really matters to me. That's why I'm involved at any level of the industry I get involved at. It's really easier for me to just stay home and stay here. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I'm 5 minutes from the river. When I'm 2 miles out on that boat landing, I'm 2 miles from everything. There's nothing out there. And it's awesome. So I could just as easily stay quiet, sit here, collect my money, and do nothing. But I see and feel everybody's pain when they're paying people that aren't doing a good job, aren't providing the best value they can provide. And it's not necessarily that one shop or that one person's fault. It's a chronic issue across the industry, and I'd really like some ideas on how we can improve it. So, thanks for watching. Have a great day.